Hello, my name is Martyr, and this is Let's Play Moebius Empire Rising. Moebius is an adventure-style click-and-point game, guys. It released April 2014, and it was developed and published by Phoenix Online Studios. You can go ahead and pick up Moebius on Steam right now for $29.99. Now, in the time that I've spent with Moebius, I will say that the game is adult, sophisticated, and smart. It ties itself in with kind of current events and tries to seem kind of up to date. And it actually uses historic references, which is a benefit to the game. It's studied and it presents a very intriguing story. It treats you like you're smart and expects that in return. But the game does have issues here, though, guys. So let's get into it, shall I? I'm going to load up a game here. I've been playing the game for about an hour to 45 minutes here. And I actually haven't been able to accomplish much. The story basically is you play this guy called Malachai, and he's kind of an antiquities examiner. He can examine antiques and stuff like that. And he gets hired by this company to start investigating this particular murder and compare the person who was murdered to somebody in history. And basically they kind of present to you this test, and you kind of do it the first time, and it's actually very cool the way it's done. And then they give you the job, and you're now in Venice trying to investigate this chick's murder and find out if her life seemed like anybody else's in history. So let's talk about what you're looking at up here. Obviously, you have your, of course, myriad of items that you'll be using in typical click and point fashion. You have your menu, you can grab stuff and use for your situations. You can also look at items. You can also examine items. You can also combine items. Another neat feature of this game, if I can get access to it, is the cell phone. Your cell phone here actually has a multitude of functions that it can serve and helps you actually contact people in the game and lets you kind of interact with the characters. It also it's a really neat thing. It has a lot of things for you to use here for instance, you can find out information about characters, like, for instance, Catalina Filoni here. People that you've already talked to, and it helps you kind of gather your information and keep it in a stored place where you can review it. You can also, this is kind of the case that we're working on here, is to figure out this chick right here, Bianca Caladola here. We're trying to figure out if her murder has any kind of, or her life in general has any resemblance to anybody in history. And cell phone kind of just lets you maneuver things and kind of mess around with the game a little bit. And it's one of the features I actually like about the game quite a bit. You also have the ability to kind of click on this button, lets you see what things are. I'm not sure what this does. And of course, you have your setting screens and all that. So we're going to go ahead and start playing a little bit of the game here as I'm talking about here. And one of the first things I want to talk about here is the graphics.
Please, sit down. Thank you, Senor Condero. I'm sorry to intrude at a time like this.
I've been asked to speak with you, and that request came directly from the U.S. Embassy.
The graphics are, how do I put this? I want to say stylized. And the reason I'm going to say stylized is that something is wrong with these people's shoulders. The graphics are okay. Like, the backgrounds themselves are very beautifully painted, but when it comes to the characters and their animations, it seems like the characters are kind of strange looking almost. They kind of try to make them realistic looking, but they kind of come off almost alien. But to be honest with you, I understand, from what I understand, the game was working with a budget, and I cannot hold that against them too much. I just want to say the graphics are stylized. They're not bad, they're not great. They're just stylized. You're either going to like them or you're not going to like them. So right now we're talking to this chick's husband.
It would help me to know more about you.
Very well.
And we're basically trying to gather information more and more as we're working for this mysterious organization who's trying to compare these figures that have been murdered to historical figures. And it has like I said, it has a very intriguing story. And the story was written by Jane Jensen, which is a name, from what I understand, that has quite a bit of weight to it. And she's written actually really good stories. I unfortunately have not had the pleasure of playing any of her other games, but I heard that she is a good writer, and the story does present itself in a very interesting way, and I'm curious as to what the hell is going on.
Tell me about your work.
I am Consigliere of Venice. I used to practice law, but for now my focus is exclusively
You can skip the text by simply just clicking through it. The voice acting, I think, is actually pretty good. The characters, while they can be slightly bland at times, specifically, I'm referring to the main character, Malachi. I think this was done on purpose, though. He's just very adult. He talks very slow and controlled, and he just sometimes comes off a little.
What would you like to know?
I don't want to say boring, but he just comes off. He talks very slow, and it's like he focuses on everything he says before he says it, and you pick that up very well.
She was in a classical dance company before we were wed.
All right, so we're learning more about the person that was murdered.
Bianca loved to entertain, and music was always a part of such evenings.
All right, so we're learning more. There we go. We now know that she was into music and she always loved to entertain. That has been added to the catalogs of data points that we're trying to find out more about this character that will help us identify this character if she has anybody in relation to anybody in history. We'll continue the conversation here. There is puzzles in this game, and that is one of the highlights I will say of this game, is the puzzles themselves. I think the puzzles are very well designed. They're smart. You have to kind of read them, you have to focus on them, and you have to figure them out. There is a hint system in the game, from what I understand. If you do, for some reason, happen to get stuck, you can activate the hint system, and that will help you get through the game, which is always a good thing, I think, in adventure games, because sometimes, the puzzles can be very tricky, and you're like, well, either look it up on the message board or look up a Let's Play video and try to find out the answer. But here you can just look up the hit system and it'll give you the answer.
How old was Bianca when you married her?
She was 18 and I was 43. But she was very mature for her age. She knew the life she wanted, and I could give it to her. She was happy in our marriage, especially once.
They have a son.
I realize it is difficult to speak ill of the dead.
But it is a good thing that I, myself, am a man who often has to say things no one wants to hear, because otherwise I would throw you out of the house for that.
As you said,
well, all right then.
The truth is not always pleasant.
She was a beautiful young woman.
As you can see, like I said, the way they talk, it's very sophisticated. It's very intelligent. I enjoy that aspect to the way they talk.
I should be grateful for that.
Sometimes when you're playing click and point adventure games, the way the characters kind of interact is very just, depending on the game itself, it can be very silly, and it's just kind of, it could be, in this game you could tell there's just, the writing was very well done.
It was hardly appropriate for
and whoever wrote it was very intelligent.
Bianca when she had your son?
It was a year after.
Musically, I think the game also is very well done. It does lend itself to the ambiance of the game, and the music. I enjoy the music quite a bit.
I must ask,
and it does complement the voice acting, I think, very well. Do you know who killed her?
Do you know who killed Bianca?
No, she was a
way to be sensitive there, buddy.
She had no enemies, nor do I.
I'm gonna try. I don't want to skip through the conversations, because I believe that the conversations and the character interactions in this game are kind of the selling point for this game. If you enjoy character development, if you enjoy the dialogue and examining things and how the puzzles and all work together, and how each character's motives and how each of the characters works, that is the selling point for this game. But I kind of want to get to the puzzles. I want to show you more of this game. So that way we can show you more of this game, because I don't want you to just sit here with this one conversation and think that's all the entire game is. There's more to this game than just conversations in itself. There's puzzles, there's kind of like this thing that I really enjoyed. You kind of analyze people as you approach them. One thing, Malachi is a very intelligent character, so you have this ability to kind of analyze people before you even talk to them, and you kind of gather facts about them before you can even meet them. It's almost like a Sherlock Holmes thing, and I enjoy that quite a bit. And now we're kind of free to examine things and kind of look at things at the speed that which we want. So we're going to go up here. We're going to look at the data points that we've gathered thus far about this woman, her passing. She died. She's at the age of 18. She had a son. She's married at the age of 18 to a 43-year-old politician. She left to dance and was a talented ballerina. She was often referred to as the most beautiful woman in her home city. She was murdered at the age of 21 by hanging. So now we can hit the analyze button, and it'll start bringing us to that kind of puzzle aspect where you have to kind of start reading about the characters that we're trying to compare her to in history. And you basically you start eliminating the targets one by one. But before we can do that, we start examining all the facts and we start narrowing it down one by one. We also have to kind of gather more facts about the character herself. And like I said, we did do that to this other character, which I would love to go back and show you, but it's not going to allow me. So we're going to go ahead and start looking around at stuff here and start interacting with objects. Let's see if we can the flowers. Who did they come from? And this is one of the areas I have a kind of a bit of tiff with. The animations in this game are dreadfully slow, guys. I feel as if almost I was battling the game in how slow Malachi kind of sluggishly moves.
I have no use for those cards.
How would you look at it then?
Sympathy cards for Bianca.
Okay.
I have no use for those.
Alright, so basically there's nothing
Sympathy
here
cards for Bianca.
that we can click on or mess with. Alright, that's fine. We'll go here and look at the piano.
Bianca liked to entertain. I imagine.
We don't play.
I don't play.
Let's go look at the sculpture then.
Someone must have a love of dance. Oh.
One of my favorite things about this game, and it's just going to make me laugh, is that if you double click on the floor, your character will teleport. I think it's hilarious. It's like, it looks like Star Trek. I had to mention that because first time I did it, I laughed my ass off the way it worked. I don't really think there's anything more to explore here. Is there? Oh, it's Bianca's room. We go to Bianca's room, and we'll see if we can find out some more clues about who she was in her room. Yes, take your pills, you weirdo. Let's go ahead. I don't know why he just took that pills. It doesn't even explain why he did that. Let's look at the paintings. The desk. Oh. There we go. Yes, move to the desk. And I will say that it is persistent in the fact that it does want to make you feel as if your character's doing everything. And that is neat, but sometimes it's just very slow. The pen. Oh.
Bianca kept some pens in here.
Notepad.
The notebook looks brand new.
All right.
Bianca's planner. It's open to the day she was murdered. She'd written in a... Nothing interesting.
Box? Nothing?
Nothing interesting.
Drawer?
They look like...
A
19th century printer's desk.
Oh.
Lots of nooks and crannies. And maybe...
Oh.
Meets the eye.
Alright, so that's...
Postage stamps. Do people actually mail things anymore?
Whoa, what's that?
I recognize that. It's a key slot. Probably for a secret drawer.
Probably right there in the middle, if I had to guess. But where is the key?
Nothing interesting.
Okay, so we gotta find the key. Look at that. There's another one right there, I think.
Nothing interesting.
Now we're gonna leave the desk here because we need to find a key, I think, to that desk itself. Let's go examine the robe.
Open slippers are still laid out.
Nope. Okay, let's go check the dresser then. Maybe the dresser has one of the keys. Alright, let's open the Bible.
Really not my cup of tea.
What do you mean it's not a cup of tea? Open the Bible, man.
Appears to be an old family Bible.
Alright, we'll look at the photo.
That must be Bianca's son.
The drawer. Bianca's gloves.
These overly large gloves are interesting.
Wait. No, go back. Go open the door. I see something underneath, I thought.
These overly large...
No, maybe not. Alright, let's open this drawer. This chick has a lot of gloves.
These overly large gloves are interesting, but I don't need to take them with me.
Why does she have so many gloves?
Gloves? This is quite an assortment. Not interesting. This glove is quite large. It would fit my hand.
Apparently she had huge hands.
These overly...
Okay, let's close these drawers, I guess. And we'll see if we can access the drawer below. No, we cannot. Alright, let's check the dresser then. Nightstand, nothing.
Everything in this room matches. I prefer a more eclectic
Huh. I guess we'll have to... Well, maybe we can access that hint system.
This bed set is a...
Check the bed?
Senor Cardolo said this was Bianca's room, which means I presume that this was not the matrimonial bed.
I don't really think there's anything else to click in here. Let's teleport to this other room. Paintings. Is that really? I can't click on the nightstand. Oh, wait. What's that? What's that? There's nothing there. All right, let's go leave the room here. Maybe we can find the key card somewhere else. If she had a purse, that would be fantastic. No, maybe. That's the exit to the map. The window. There's nothing else here to examine, maybe? Alright, we'll go ahead and exit to the map anyways. Well, that's the next area. This guy called us because he had an antique for us. So we're going to go ahead in here and see what he has for us. Maybe it'll be hopefully a puzzle and I can show that off to you guys.
It's a pleasure to see you.
I'm going to go ahead and skip some of the dialogue because I kind of want to see if he has anything that will be puzzle-esque. I want to talk to him, but
how can I help you, Mr.
You said you had Venetian jewelry.
I have a few good pieces.
Alright, so we want to go look at those. Okay, how about the...
I'd like to see the figurine you mentioned in your letter.
There you go. The guy looks like Stan Lee.
See, here it is. Take all the time you need. I hope you'll find it to your liking. I know your taste is excellent.
Unfortunately, it's a fake. Alright, so let's examine the figurine now. Alright, let's take...
That's all for as you wish.
Okay, can we examine the figurine? Is he going to take it? Stop taking your pills, man! Good lord, this guy's a pill popper. Okay, can I click on the statue, please? Can I click on anything now? Thank you. Alright, now we're going to get to examine the statue here. I thought... There we go. Alright, so this is what I was talking to you guys about. You guys examine things. And we kind of have to kind of flip through here and see if we can examine it from which age it looks like. It looks like... That looks like a 12th century chess piece with exaggerated and glum expression that appearing comical in the modern eye. It kind of looks like that. That's totally a match. Material. I say it kind of looks like that. It looks like walrus ivory. And then finally, we'll go with... it looks like we're trying to get the canvas. What is this? We're trying the memory blank here. Memory bank. Medieval... I think it's a medieval chess piece. Chess pieces were non-standardized in the medieval age. Sets were often themed for region, rule, etc. Let's see if that finishes. I think that's it. Did we do it? Did we match it? Yep, we totally matched it. Alright. We matched what it is. We identified what kind of piece it is.
An excellent find, Senor Barozzi. It's a 12th century Louis Chessman piece. The British Museum...
And that's just kind of one of the examples of the many different kinds of puzzles we find in this game. I'm sure there's far more complicated puzzles than just that, but I enjoy the fact you kind of have to read. Well, even though I kind of matched it by eyesight, but the puzzles at the beginning are obviously easier, and I imagine they get harder and harder as you move along in the game.
Please do. Oh, and ensure the hell out of it.
Of course. Thank you. I'm not ashamed to say I will be glad for the money.
So there you go. You kind of get the example of what the puzzles are like, guys. And like I said, the game itself is painted very beautifully. I enjoy... Just look at this shop. It has so many interesting things. I kind of want to click on everything and see what Malachi has to say about everything. But just the animations of the character himself are just so... He kind of distracts me with the way his shoulders look. I do enjoy the fact, again, I can teleport, though. Okay, stop screwing on murder. But you get the idea of how the puzzles work, guys. Like I said, it's an interesting story, guys. It's an interesting universe. Malachi, I hope he develops a little bit more of an interesting personality. And like I said, this is near the beginning of the game. So he may very well do that, guys. Like I said, the music is great. The graphics are slightly stylized, but that's not a big deal. From what I understand, the game does have quite a bit of fair length to it, all in all. I think there's like about 5 or 6 chapters. I'm not 100% sure about that. So we're going to return here to the main menu, and we're going to kind of wrap up this video, guys. In all, Moebius succeeds in being a fun puzzle game, guys. It does present an interesting story that is intriguing. Unfortunately, I felt like I was battling the animations and the overall slow pace of the game. It is well designed, though. I didn't run into any kind of bugs at all, and moving around and clicking on things worked very well. To some, if you were looking for an intelligent click and point with good puzzles and good storytelling, Moebius is a fine choice. But I don't think this game is going to be everybody's cup of tea. Plus, like I said, there's a lot of amazing click and point games out there right now, guys. And I'm not sure if this compares to them overall, especially in price. It's one of those games you're going to love or hate. You decide, though. So big thanks to the developer for a chance to review this game. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you awesome indie games. Until next time, guys, this has been Let's Play Moebius Empire Rising.